Australia is a country made up by migrants. First, there were Europeans, then Chinese, then South Asians, mainly of Indian descent. This country gave us opportunities, a lifestyle, one of the best in the world, and community that welcomed us with open arms. We returned this gratitude by hard work, paying taxes, and contributing to the third largest section of in Australian economy, the construction sector, by building and buying houses. The guest in our studio today is no stranger to Indian community. He's a proud Australian and a proud owner builder. But behind this story, there is a saga. We are going to share here today all the experiences, the motivation, and most importantly, the reason behind choosing to be an owner builder. I, along with Kudrat Chadha, director of Owner Builder Cycle, or Circle, must I say, would like to welcome Mr. Iqbal Sandhu. Can you hear me, guys?
Yep, loud and clear.
So we are live here. Thank you very much, Mr. Sandhu, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
And so, can you please give us a brief introduction about yourself?
As you said, my name is Iqbal Sandhu, and I migrated to Australia in late 1984. And I'm living with my family in the suburb of Kellyville in New South Wales.
So, as being in the industry for a while now, and I understand becoming an owner builder is not an easy task. So, in your instance, why you chose to become an owner builder?
Yeah, you are right. It's not easy at all. So we bought a block of land and decided to build. Before I thought about being an owner builder, we visited quite a few builders and spoke to them, consulted with them. And after all that, I decided to be an owner builder because I thought being an owner builder, you can have more say designing the project,
Makes
and
sense. Yep.
you can have more control on your budget as well.
So yes, because I frankly believe that owner builder is not the cheapest option. So you have to have money to become an owner builder first of all, and then you have to have, I think, time, and most importantly, you need physically you need to be very strong, and because it's mentally and physically a very draining task. So when we look into your owner builder experiences, so how was your experience in terms of in this initiative?
Yes, it is very tough. It's not easy at all, as you said, mentally, physically, because it's a long project and you have to juggle within your job and project
Yep.
and family commitments. So it's not easy at all.
So um, I when we talking about it earlier, and that's why we chose that. Okay, we are going to discuss something that's very personal, but you did come across an injury that happened a few years back while you were on this project, isn't it? So if you can a little bit tell us about that, because that's one of the most important parts in when you're building yourself, and you are doing all by yourself. So what happened around that space, the injury and stress?
Yeah, I think it was a big part of my experience being an owner builder because I had an ongoing back issue for more than about 20 years before I started.
Oh, okay.
And so having all the headaches, stress contributed to my this new injury. It aggravated my old injury, and it was that bad. I was unable to look after myself. So the whole project came to halt.
Oh, okay. So,
Yeah.
like that's the whole thing about it, because like we as owner builders or future owner builders or anyone who's listening to this program, we need to stress on two things that's very important when you are doing or building yourself. We always stress on it. Doesn't matter, it's me, it's Kudrat, or it's Ajit. We always say one thing is very, very important, and that is you have to be very, very physically fit. You have to make sure that the safety is your strongest point when you're doing it, because you are the boss at your own side, isn't it? So how that stress, you know, um, financially or physically affected that project?
It did affect a lot, especially physically, because as I said, I was unable to move. I was bedridden for about 3 months, and at the end,
Okay.
I had to have surgery on my back.
Oh my God.
So,
And
so it delayed the project much more longer what we thought in the beginning, which obviously affected the finance side as well.
oh my God. So yes, so that's the whole point, is when an owner builder or anyone who goes into that project, we have to understand that sometimes most of the experience might go well, but in the end, there's only one thing that we need to be careful of, and that thing is your health. And it can blow the budget, it can blow the timelines, it can blow everything out of the picture. So, and we were also discussing, I think, very important stuff, that you chose to build your house around a time when it was a boom. So how did that, I think that also leveled up, and it became, it in the stress. It was also a component that, makes it very hard for you to sleep. It hard to make decisions, what you're going to do next and all that. So how did that boom period, when all the builders and traders were busy, affected you?
Can I just go back to the safety issue? I think this is one of the major thing everybody has to be concerned, because it's not about yourself. The safety is about everyone else is involved in this project, and even your family. My family was affected a lot,
Oh yes.
so so they had to look after me.
So that's the thing. Like, anyone who's watching it, we are not robots. So if we get injured, there's going to be a stress around ourselves. There's going to stress around the family, anyone who is going to be connected to you. So financial stress is on one side, but when we look into health and everything, it becomes more stressful. So, like Kudrat, as an own, like, as a director in the as a, in owner builder circle, so you have come across those things, and we have also discussed like, in the past, that these things, when we look into, we have to make sure that we talk to experts, and that's why the owner builder circle was established, to get rid of all these stresses. And you, like, doesn't matter, you are injured or you get sick, your project is not going to be delayed, isn't it?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
The Going back to the example of Mr. Sandhu, is that that is the worst case scenario that can happen in an owner builder, where you get injured and you're stuck and you're unable to complete the project. So my question to you is, when you were stuck, when you had that injury, how did you finish the project? Did someone come in to help, or what happened?
yeah. I think I was very lucky that one of my nephew introduced Amma from Ajita Constructions. So he came along and took over as a project manager, not just as a project manager, but he was a friendly, helpful, professional. So he took over and he helped us a lot.
Excellent. Well, that's
Excellent.
good.
Like,
That's good to
see,
I
like this. Sorry, I'm cutting you, Kudrat, here. Like, again, we always talk about this thing again and again, that when we talk about any of our founding members of My Build My Pride. We are not trying to advertise it, but in the end, we have to acknowledge people who have actually come to the rescue. So in this case, this is not a made up story or anything. If you're anyone who's listening, this is actual story that Amarjit from Ajit Constructions actually came to the rescue of this project. So we were talking, and I think that project was only half built when Amarjit
That's
or Ajit Constructions came in, isn't it?
yeah, that's right. Yeah, we were halfway through when that injury happened, and he took over, and so he looked after not just the project itself, but he looked after myself and my family as well. He used to visit my home to get everything he needed, so it was a great help for us.
Right.
Brilliant.
Well,
Yeah.
so Kudrat, you want to say something?
Yes,
Sorry,
my
I cut you off.
question to Mr. Sandhu will be because we've spoken so much about the stress. I want to talk about the happy times as well. Mr. Sandhu, what was the best thing about being an owner builder? What did you enjoy the most?
The best thing I would say was the whole family could get involved and help each other, and everyone have their say in the project, and even they were able to choose what sort of room they want to have, what sort of another room they want to have.
Yeah,
So that I think that was one of the good experience.
brilliant.
That's
Um,
brilliant.
Last question I have for you is going forward for new owner builders who are thinking of becoming an owner builder, who want to make their own custom build. What suggestions would you have for them?
Well, I think these days it's much more easier to become an owner builder and have this than when I did, because I think now you have many more experienced professional people like in OBC. They you they can help you and guide you through the whole process.
So that's a good part. I guess that's why, like we like when we started that, when Kudrat came up with that idea, I think it was brilliant. And when Amarjit talked about it, it's I've come across many owner builders, and we also talked about so many different things like tradies. We talked about brickies. The brickies, they can charge, 2.5, $2.50 for one brick, and they can charge $3.50 for the same brick, depending on how busy they are. So that's the whole point of it. Even though you need to be financially very strong to become owner builder, but we must not overlook the very basics, that there are organizations, especially OBC, that they can help you to take that stress out of your life, which is very important. And in today's world, as Mr. Sandhu said, like in when he started owner building, there were less options in regards to the organizations out there. But now we have that technology, we have that backup to see, like, okay, Amarjit Constructions. So we can say that if we need tradies or we need suppliers, we have that kind sort of backup to help the people when it's needed the most, isn't it, Goodwood?
Yes, of course. The other thing is that I'd like to add would be being an owner builder is not an easy process.
Yeah,
It's simple, but it's not easy.
it's not easy.
And 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 the stress that an owner builder suffers, not just physically but mentally, and it's not just him, it's family members, it's friends. It hits you in a way. It's a big project, so I would recommend do your homework before you jump in. Do your research about your suppliers, your trades. For me, safety is the number one priority. Make sure you don't get hurt, don't injure yourself while you're doing it. And if you need anything else, there's experts out there, not just us, but many more experts out there that can guide you, help you in any way possible. You're not alone. And I'd like to thank you, Mr. Iqbal Sandhu, for coming on the show and speaking about this beautiful project that we see. It's a job well done.
That's a job well done. Seriously, it's a beautiful house.
Beautiful 70 square home in the heart of Kellyville. Um, Thank you, Mr. Sandhu, for being on the show, for sharing your experience. I'm sure a lot of the listeners would have loved your suggestions and recommendations.
Thank you very much, sir, for coming on the program once again, and hopefully to see you again sometime
Thank you
soon.
very much.
And all the best. And I must say, it's a beautiful, beautiful house, and all the best for the future. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.